Hi, oh, that's really loud. Welcome. How are you this evening?
This is what AP is. If you're interested in AP taking.
Fantastic. That's how we're feeling. I am Beth Thomas, proud principal of Quince Orchard High School, and I welcome you here on behalf of everybody who is going to be joining us, as well as our staff, students, and community. So we're going to there's a lot going on, as you probably saw. There's the Ridgeview Lakelands basketball game and different events going on this evening. So I'll give just a minute. We are going to post this presentation. I have been contacted by a few parents regarding information because of conflicts and different things that they had this evening. So it says that I do not have permission to play a media thing, so this is great. And truth be told, I left one meeting and literally ran here to get to this meeting, so I apologize. Normally we would have had this up and going when I got here, but unfortunately it was not. So we will go through this and share as much information as we can to welcome you as the class of 2028. It's a little crazy to say, the class of 2028. So how many of you are you're going to be first-time high school parents?
Woo!
Wow,
Nice.
wow, okay, all right. So it is a small group this evening. We are probably going to be welcoming about 550 to 575 class of 2028 students. So this is a small sampling of our community that will be coming together next year. So hopefully, because it's a small group, we'll be able to get through as much information as we can and give you time to ask questions. We also have Mr. Yarborough will be documenting questions. Ms. Jackson will be documenting questions that you ask, so that way we can post responses and make sure that we get information out as soon as possible. Okay, so slide 23 is not going to play, everybody, so we'll, whatever slide 23 was, I'm sure was amazing, and we'll post it so you can view it at your leisure. It's all good, we're just going to keep rolling. Again, I'm Beth Thomas, proud principal. This is my 6th year here at Quince Orchard. I started here in the 2018-2019 school year, and I'm excited to introduce our team, who will be part of the registration and articulation process. So, por favor. All right, here we go. We have this evening Miss Jessica Conter, who's the head of our counseling department. She's our resource counselor and works with all of our counselors as they connect with your students, as well as staff in our middle schools. We also are joined this evening by Colleen Adams, who's our fine and practical arts resource teacher, and she has actually been here for quite some time, graduated from Quince Orchard, and is huge in our signature program. So a lot of the questions that our community has around signature programs and courses, Colleen knows the whole pathway. We have Miss Jamie Kimbrough Gross, who's the head of our social studies department. And Jamie is going to talk with you about some of the transitions that we're going to have in our social studies department. And rounding out our team this evening is Mr. Philip Yarborough, is one of our assistant principals, currently the class of 2024. Go ahead, Mr. Yarborough.
The class that they all adore, that they've been waiting for. But you will have me as class of 2028 because they're so great.
He's excited. Okay, that was a good one. I appreciate that. And then we also have Miss Jackson. Miss Jackson is up at the top, and she's currently one of our 10th grade administrators, and will be working to capture questions. So that is our team that's here this evening. Of course, we do not represent the entire school, but we are your point people as you're navigating this transition to Quince Orchard High School. So this evening, we're going to share a lot of information, and I'm just going to let you know, it may seem overwhelming at first. Just take a few moments, you'll get to know us, and hopefully we'll answer as many questions, and then again, have this readily available for your students, for you and to be here to answer any questions. This evening you will learn about your counselor assignments that are currently based by last name. Also, we'll go through graduation requirements. What is awesome to say, and I've not been able to say this since I started here, is that your students have all the same graduation requirements as the class of our freshman class, our sophomore class, and our junior class. That hasn't happened in a long time because graduation requirements have changed. So it's good to be able to have one consistent message in terms of what your students will need to graduate. Also, we'll go through the registration process, what you can expect. I'm sure that we might have some families and caregivers that are here from some private schools. Please know that we will work with you and your family as you're going through the registration process. I know we have families here from MLK, Roberto Clemente, also Ridgeview and Lincoln's. Information to keep in mind. We're going to give you a few little nuggets and tidbits as you're thinking about the registration process for your student, and then obviously, as I said multiple times, answer questions. So our goal here, by the time your students leave, is that they know that they are supported in everything that they do and experience excellence. And what experiencing excellence means for your student may be very different from a student over here. Experiencing excellence may be different in the morning than it is in the afternoon. And I know that sounds silly and it may sound cliche, but if, for example, your student plays an instrument, and can we give a round of applause for our students up there who are, simply amazing. And so many of our students are involved in multiple different things. They're involved in multiple pathways, and they may have a hugely rigorous course load. At the end of the day, they may go to marching band as an example, or theater as an example, and they want to be involved in something else. So we create whatever pathways and experiences we can for them to feel connected and experience excellence. And hopefully by the time your student graduates, you will have experienced that as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Conter. She's going to go through counselor information, and then as we proceed, I will be taking some notes as well. So Ms. Conter.
Thank you. All right, welcome everyone. I fully recognize that a lot of the slides I am going to be talking about have a ton of information and it's like 0.05 font. So I do apologize, but like Ms. Thomas mentioned, this all will be posted on the website as well as a recording of the session. And you'll be able to click on the slide links and actually see it and put it to the size of your liking. So I would like to start off by kind of explaining how we do things in our counseling services office. When you get the copy of the slides, that top link where it says Counseling Services will take you to our dedicated webpage where you will find more information than you probably ever want or need. But we would rather you have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So the breakdown you see currently is for our current 9th through 11th graders. We want everyone to recognize that as we get new students every single school year, sometimes the alpha does have to move by a tiny bit. Once we have that set for next year, we will publish it on all of the places so that you are aware of who your counselor is. But for right now, we are going to work under these pretenses. So what we ask is that you find your student's last name, and then once you find that section, that will be the counselor that you will be working with while we work through the scheduling process for next school year. You are more than welcome as well to reach out to me at any time if you have questions. My students do not actually attend class here on QO campus. They are at Montgomery College or the Virtual Academy. So I work with all of my students virtually. So I do have a little bit more flexibility to meet with families if they need to, whether in person or virtually during the school day. Our office hours, meaning someone will answer the phone between the hours of 7:25 and 3 o'clock. We have a secretary with 2 secretaries in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. And the main one is Miss Tammy Cross, and she will answer all the phones. And then Miss Kristen Barnes is our registrar, and she will work with you when it comes to getting things updated on your students' transcripts and classes you want to transfer up from 8th grade that may not be showing. So she's definitely someone that you will want to get to know. All right, so graduation requirements. So in order to graduate from a Montgomery County Public Schools school, you need to have completed successfully 22 credits. They have to be in very specific areas, which we'll go over in just a moment. But if you're doing the math, your student is enrolled in high school for 4 years, and they have to take 7 classes a day. So 7 times is how much? There you go. So you have some time, right? So 7 times 4 is 28. So you have 22 credits you have to give, which means that there is some flexibility for some creativity. If we have some hiccups, if we have some things that we need to work on to better ourselves and our education, we have the flexibility. So please understand that transition years, 9th grade, are very difficult. So is 12th grade. So there's going to be that need, but we have it built in our scheduling, and it's a good thing that we have done that. In order to graduate, not only with those credits being in specific areas, but there's other things that we want our students to do to be better members of society. So the first one is SSL, or Student Service Learning Hours. If you've been in the county since 5th grade, you've been hearing this for the past 3 years. All students do have to earn 75 hours in order to be eligible for graduation. And yes, we are serious, 75. We've had to pull kids out of line in the middle of graduation for needing a half an hour still. So it is real, and it does happen, and it's not fun. So we want to make sure that before we get there, you are prepared. The majority of the history and English classes that your students have taken in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade have had some sort of SSL attached to it. It's usually about 10 hours. When they get to the high school level, NSL will have 15 hours, health has 5 hours, and there's some electives that have hours attached to it as well. So there really isn't a whole lot for your students to do outside of their education and their learning, but we encourage it because in order to be successful in society in general, you need to understand the world around you. If your student is able to earn 240 SSL hours, there is a certificate of meritorious service awarded to that student. They get a certificate and a purple tassel to wear at graduation and a little, I don't know if it's an ampersand or some sort of symbol after their name at graduation. There are now more and more colleges that are interested in how the students are performing in the community. So before COVID, it wasn't really asked. Now they are starting to ask. What does your student do in the community that benefits your community? Does your school require SSL hours? So they are starting to ask now more than ever, so we are really encouraging our students to get out there. There's a ton of information on SSL, which we'll cover in a second as well. And the last thing that they have to do is pass state exams. And for your students, there is going to be an actual grade assigned and tied to these exams now. Right now, we're rolling it out for our students who are taking biology for first time in 9th grade. It is a 20% what we call EOC, or end of class exam, end of course exam. And that exam, once we get that score, is then tied into their overall grade for the second semester. There's a lot of documentation out, and we will show you how to access that, but we want to make sure you are all aware that with your students' grade level, it is now being phased in across the board. So they're going slowly but surely. But that is something that they will have to sit for, and they will have to pass in order to be eligible for graduation. Again, this is super tiny and it's a link, but this is the class of 2028's course or credit requirements. And you'll see that they are broken down specifically by topic. So what we call a core 4, English, math, social studies, and science, 4 years of English, 4 credits of English. You have to have 4 years of math in high school. So if your student is Algebra 1 right now in 8th grade, they still have to take math all 4 years of high school. We have 3 government or history classes that you have to take, U.S. history, NSL, and world history. And then we've got 3 science classes, which we call NGSS science classes. They typically are in the areas of biology, chemistry, and physics, although they're coded something differently now. Those are the core 4. The other things we need to worry about are our tech class. Everyone has to have a technology credit. No, it does not necessarily mean computer science, but that is an option. We have a more hands-on version of that class as well, called FOT, or Foundations of Technology. All students have to have 1 credit of a fine art, which can either be theater, music, actual ceramics, or photography, those kinds of courses. Everyone in this class must have 1 year of health. That's a change. That used to just be a half year, but you guys have to have 1 full year, which is great. FSL hours are tied to it now. And then you have to have 1 full year of PE. No, you cannot get exempt from it if your student is on an athletic team. We wish. We do not do that, unfortunately. So you do still have to be enrolled in 1 full school year of PE at some point. And then the last one is the program completed, where there are 3 options, which I'll show you in a second. I just blew through that. I don't expect you to remember any of it. That's okay. We're going to be talking about this for the next 4 years with your students, okay? I'm going to switch it over to Ms. Kimberly Groves real fast to speak about this social studies because there's going to be a little bit of change, and then we'll jump back into what we need to go over for the other graduation requirements.
Good evening, everybody. Again, I'm Jamie Kimbrough Groves. I'm the head of the Social Studies Department here, and I'm here to talk to you about one of the AP options for your students. So there are 3 required social studies classes that students need designated by the state of Maryland to graduate. They have to have U.S. history, the second half of the survey. They have to have U.S. government and politics, and they have to have a world history credit. Traditionally, we've had students take AP U.S. history as freshmen, AP NSL as sophomores, and AP world history as juniors. We are making a change for next year because AP U.S. history, I don't know if you've taken it or you have older children or whomever who may have taken it, but it can be a bit of a bear. And also, most places around the country, AP U.S. history is an upperclassman course. For example, I took it as a junior in Pennsylvania. It's not typically offered to freshmen. What we are doing for next year is we are offering AP U.S. government and politics to freshmen as the AP option. So, when your students are registering, they will have the choice between taking either Honors U.S. History or AP U.S. Government as a freshman. We are making this change because AP Government is a lot more accessible for students, especially younger students, than AP U.S. History. AP U.S. Government is different in the writing style that is expected. It is different in the way that you study for the course. And sometimes for those who are brand new to high school, they tend to do a little bit better than going with a history course. I know that many of you have the packet that we put together so that you can make an informed decision for your student. I do want to highlight a couple things that are within that packet and on the slide so that you can take those with you, and then you can always email me with questions if you wish. So we have our 5 minutes of study that are listed up there. So this is the content that your student would learn about over the course of the year. With Foundations of American Democracy, How the Branches of Government Work, Civil Rights and Liberties, American Political Ideologies, and Beliefs in Political Participation. So those are the 5 minutes of study over the course of the year, and it really does take the full year to get through all of this. They're going to work on concept application. They're going to work on Supreme Court and court case application. They're going to work on data and source analysis, and they're going to work on argumentation. So those are the major skills. When we're considering what should your students walk into the room with, right? Because our goal today and throughout next year is to ensure that we are preparing our students for success as 9th graders and preparing them for the transition, because this is a really big transition to come to high school. Think about your student. Is your student self-motivated and self-advocating? Is your student going to feel comfortable going and talking to their teacher and saying, I'm really struggling with this concept. Will you help me? And that seems so small, but the idea of reaching out to that teacher is so, so important. Is your student self-advocating? Are they reading at or above grade level? Students are going to be tackling documents that are very difficult. The first unit is all about Foundations of American Democracy, which means they get to read some political philosophy. So they are going to read John Locke, they are going to read Rousseau, they are going to read Federalist Papers. Government's not my thing. I'm a history person, so I'm just pulling this out of my poli-sci minor from 20 years ago, y'all, okay? But I know for a fact, because I think Federalist 10 is what I have in there for you to review, they're going to be reading stuff that's really tough. So what is the reading level, and do they have the ability, if they're struggling a little bit, to continue to push through the reading? Because it's not going to feel that interesting maybe to them, so are they going to have that perseverance skill? Are they consistently completing work inside and outside of class? AP classes, regardless of what course it is, regardless of whether it's more accessible or one of the more difficult ones, they all require students to go above and beyond what's happening in the regular school day. So they will have a textbook that is issued to them. They will have reading guides to help them better understand the content. The teachers are there to work with them, but your student will still have to crack that textbook open and read it and answer those questions. So is your student someone who is going to do that work? And that's something you should consider as you're making your decision. And is your student interested in government? If your student's not interested in government at all, I'm not gonna lie, social studies, we should all be interested, yes, because it impacts our day-to-day life. But if your student has no interest in government, then maybe they take honors US history and they consider taking an AP, trying AP government as a sophomore. The course will still be available to them. Our goal is to ensure that students are supported. Our Course Select team, our PLC, they're working really hard to build in supports for students, and you can see some of our supports that are currently available. There's Lunch and Learn that they can go to with their teacher, and I know that our teachers make themselves available, and there are regularly students in government classes getting help. Rho Kappa is our Social Studies Honor Society, and we have a regular schedule that students can go to, I believe it is P12, to get to see Rho Kappa tutors every Tuesday. There's also Quizlet resources that have been created by Rho Kappa. I give them to my AP World students and they find them helpful, and they've made them for every single one of our AP courses. So there's those resources that are there for students. And again, there's reading guides, current event assignments, and note cards and study strategies that are provided by the teachers so that students can be very successful. So there is a lot of support inside the classroom, a lot of help inside the classroom, but it is still a challenging course. It's more accessible, but we still want to make sure that you are fully aware of everything that's out there. If you're able to access the QR code, it's just an electronic version of the hard packet that you received. And then within that packet, it just has some sample questions. What do multiple choice questions look like? What does the writing, what are the expectations around writing for students on the AP exam? And it gives a breakdown of what the actual AP NSL exam looks like when it comes to the May test at the very, very end of the year. AP NSL students do not take the statewide test if they take the AP NSL exam in May, and as long as they pass that class. So that would be fulfilling their requirements. So if you take AP NSL, you would take your AP exam, which is free. I wasn't sure about next year. It's free, which is fantastic. So those students will take that test, and then that would be their method of fulfilling the state requirements. So that is one of the other benefits for AP NSL students. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Look through that packet. If your student's not here with you, show your student the packet to see how they feel. Try the test questions to see how it goes. See how they're feeling about potentially taking the class.
Okay, back to the program computer piece. So in order to graduate, besides the core classes and the electives that they require, there are some other what we call programs of studies or program completers that all students have to pick from. The first one is 2 credits of the same world language, so meaning Spanish 1, Spanish 2, ASL 2, ASL 3, whatever language your student would like. We have many options luckily here at QO, but it does require 2 years of the same language. Most, not all, but there are there's a lot of students, I'm just gonna put it that way, that will do this one simply because it is a college requirement as well for entrance. So for students whose next path after high school might be college, a lot of them are choosing the language path because it is required in order to attend college. Sometimes if you get the 3rd and 4th year language in there in the high school level, they will waive the requirement to take the language again at the college level. And so students now are more increasingly doing this. Another great one to select from is the Career Completer Program. We have a lot of options not only in our building, but through the technology schools, specifically Edison and Seneca and Gaithersburg. And this is basically saying, we know that education is important, but it looks different for everyone. And just because I want to go to school doesn't mean I necessarily need to go to a 4-year school. And so there are some students who are electing to do the more career or CTE-based options and go through the pathways and through Montgomery College and actually earn certificates to be able to start working right away. We have some of them that we offer here at QO listed up there. There are a ton of others. If this is something that your student or you might be interested in learning more about, please reach out to your counselor and we can set you up with all the information for the other fields that are covered, like plumbing, electronics, there's auto body, and there's hospitality, cybersecurity, there's a ton, okay? And then the last one that we offer is career development, again, recognizing that education looks different for everyone and that not everyone's goal after high school is college. We do want to make sure that our students are set up with the best tools that they could possibly have when they leave our doors. And so we offer the college and career pathway where they will learn how to do things like apply to college, interview skills. They are required to go and actually obtain a job and work at the job during school hours, where they not only earn money, but they also are getting credit for attending those jobs through MCPS. And so it's a great opportunity for students who really want to explore the world of work and aren't sure if they want to do work or college, and so we offer that built into their schedule here. So your students are currently in middle school, and the good news is some of the courses they are taking might actually give them high school credits. That is not true for all subjects because some subjects need to be repeated, like English, every single year. Some of these subjects that will allow for high school transcript credits are math. So any level of math above math 8 will be possibly put on the transcript. Any world language, Spanish 1, Spanish for Speakers 1, any of those can be put on. And then some technology, so Intro to Engineering and Foundations of Computer Science are the two main ones. So what do I mean by it might be on the transcript? So many years ago, it was just automatically was on the transcript and it was what it was. If you pass the class, you're good. However, now we've realized that some students are taking middle school courses and wanting to repeat them at the high school level, either because they want a better grade or because they want to do more in-depth learning. So for example, Spanish at the high school level, Spanish 1 is 1 full year, but at the middle school level, it looks more like Spanish 1A, 1B, and 2A. So the curriculum is a little bit more intense when you get to the high school level, and so for that reason, some students elect to repeat courses. As of right now, you must pass both courses, so a D or higher is passing, though we recommend a B or higher to be on the transcript. And it is excluded from the transcript if it negatively impacts the grade. So if your student is in Algebra 1, and for 1A they got an A, but for 1B they got a B, that's negatively impacting your student's transcript, and so the 1B is going to be excluded. It's not going to be there. Did your students still take it? Yes, but they're not going to be given GPA or credit for it. Now that doesn't sit well with everybody. Some people are like, I passed Algebra 1B, I want that B. There's a form we can help you fill out, and your counselors and resources at the middle school level will have those forms for you, and we're more than willing to help as well. But it does exist, and so we are seeing it more and more this year than we ever have before. Luckily, we're catching it and reaching out to families, but if we can catch it before you get here, that's even better. It's just a smoother transition. Okay? All right, SSL hours. So this is the fun flow chart, and it's just saying, do you need hours? Yeah, there you go. Like I said before, a lot of them are built into the courses that your students have either already taken or will take once they get here. But we do recognize that some people are like, I don't know where to send my kid. I just don't want them here on the weekends. Make them do something important. And so there's a ton of resources that not only do MCPS provide, but Montgomery County does as well. We have a dedicated SSL coordinator here. Ms. Kelly Miller is our SSL coordinator, and she does amazing at sending out blasts and updates for students in order to learn about all the opportunities based on only on our area, but based on month by month for what the county and the system is offering. So you will start receiving those blasts once you end up here, and your information is on file. She will start reaching out. Your counselors will also start contacting you as we get closer and closer to May or June of 2028 to make sure that you have not only met that requirement, but exceeded it if that's what your student's goal is. Okay, the fun part of the testing. So, like Ms. Thomas mentioned before, this is like the first time in forever, I feel like Anna and Elsa, that the state testing is not going to change. Knock on wood, cross fingers for next school year. So you can kind of see the breakdown, and it is a lot of educational jargon, but the gist of it is that you have to sit for the 4 core. So Algebra 1, English 10, Government, which is the NSL course that Ms. Kimbrough spoke about, and then Science, which is really tied to the biology level. So when your students are in those specific courses, there is an exam that they will have to sit for and effectively pass, okay? It looks different for each one, but that's the gist of it. Currently, like we mentioned before, the EOC, or the end of course assessment, is tied to the biology 2nd semester quarter, and then it is also going to be tied to the government, and then they're going to phase in the rest. So just know that this does have a higher impact on your students than it did for the graduates 3 or 4 years ago. All right, so for middle school registration, so the registration process Does look different for our rising freshmen or our current 8th graders than it does for our current QO students, simply because we don't have ready access to your students. Where our students are here on campus, we can call them down if we need them. So what we have intended to do is you will be given access, your students will be given access to the registration form, which is a Google form, which we'll show you in just a moment. And they will have access until February 2nd, preferably sooner, to basically tell us what courses they're interested in taking. What questions are they wanting to answer as they kind of go through their educational system process. As of right now, we are going to have the students from Lakeland and MLK come on to our campus on a field trip on the 18th. And while they are here, they're going to hear a studentized version of this presentation, as well as interact with some of our clubs and electives so that they can have a better understanding of not only what it is to be a high schooler, but also just to be on campus. Because sometimes just physically being here makes all the difference. So we want to get to them early and often and get them here as quickly as we can so that we can help them start looking forward to next year. For students at Ridgeview and Clemente, we are working on whether or not we are going to be able to get you all here or if we're going to go to their schools like we have traditionally done in the past. So we are trying something new this year. Typically, the counselors would go to the middle schools and speak with your students there, but we're trying something new. We want to be innovative, if you will. So if all goes well, then next year we will continue this and bring all schools on campus so that they can experience what it's like to be, during a student school day, a student here. For the Google form, I'm not going to lie to you, it's not like 4 questions. It's long. I apologize, but we want to make sure we're capturing as much information as we can since we don't have access to them readily during the school day. So once you get access to this, it will be for the rising freshmen, so it'll be 9th grade Google form that you're looking for. We definitely encourage all students to have conversations with their current teachers and current counselors. We are kind of moving away from the world of recommendations where the teacher says, I think you should take this class next year, and we really want students to have those difficult conversations with their teachers and their family caregivers and their counselors and determine what is in their best interest. Not what all their friends are doing, not what everyone else typically does, but what is in their best interest. They will be asked for their core 5, so English, Math, Social Studies, Science, and World Language if that's their pathway that they select. And then they will be asked for electives. So do they want an art class, a PE class, do they want to take a music class or a tech class? All of the options are there. At the end of that form, they will be asked for alternatives. And the reason we ask for the alternate classes is because if we didn't, everyone and their brother would want to be in, for example, basketball, and you can't have 90 kids in each section of basketball every single period. So we want to know if basketball doesn't work out, what other class would they like to take so we have backups, knowing that seniors who are going to be graduating get precedence to that class if it's needed for graduation. To plan for all this, because you're planning the next 4 years of your life, right, all at once, we have a document so that you and your student can actually sit down and look at the progress that they will be making every single year in every single subject. And it's a form that you can keep and you can use from year to year, and you can monitor what you feel your student is doing as far as progress versus what the system is saying that we have on record, just kind of like a check and balance. But the biggest thing that we want you to take away is that we would like for this to be a conversation. A lot of kids will get excited when they get access to the form and they'll just fill it out. They won't talk to you anymore. And so that's a typical high school thing, but we want to make sure that you are still actively involved in their education as they start to learn to be more independent so that if college is their next chosen path, they are able to manipulate it on their own, but they know that you are there to support and understand what's going on. So definitely make sure that you look for that form when they come home with it. This is kind of the top of what it looks like, so there's a different cougar on every form, but we're all cougars. But this one is 24-25 9th grade registration card. That's the one you're looking for. And it does ask a lot of information up front, and some people are like, well, why do you need this information? And it's because we got to be able to reach you. So what's going to happen is once they give us these course requests, we don't actually start working on scheduling and actually giving them specific teachers and classrooms until the summer. Everyone's on summer break at that point. So if we want to be able to ask a student, hey, you've got to pick between these 2 courses, what do you want? We need to know how to get a hold of them. So we do ask for their email, we do ask for their cell phone if they're comfortable giving it for us, but we also ask for your information. So if we call them and they don't answer, guess where we're going to go to? We're going to you all, because we know that you'll help us get that answer so they have a schedule. So you'll see questions like that. You will also see questions for each individual subject, so English, Math, Social Studies, Science, all of those options are listed, as well as a suggested pathway. So if you're in Algebra 1, the next course would then be Geometry, and it kind of gives you a breakdown of what to choose in case you are not sure. You will also be asked to select electives, so your students will go through and they'll be able to see all the courses that they have access to, what they might be interested in, and then they will also ask for backups. We just ask that all students kind of sit down and go slowly, one by one, through every question, because we all know they just want to get it done, and they think it creates a schedule, but it doesn't. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and so we want to make sure that you are in the classes you would like to see your student in, and they are willing to participate in. That's the biggest kicker. All right. I'm officially done chatting. If you have questions, we promise to answer them at the end. If not, you can always reach out to us via email. And I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Colleen Adams to go over her section.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So I do a lot of things here. You'll probably hear my name many times over the next 4 years. One of them is I am in charge of the website. This year we took our old school bulletin and turned it into a online Google site. So you can literally find out about every single course we offer. It's available in both English and Spanish, and some of them are available in French. On the QO course bulletin page, you will see that there is a page for each of the subject areas. On each of those pages, you'll see contact information and then course descriptions for each and every course. And you can access this as well as all the super important links on our QO website, QOHS.org. There's a whole registration section under the current calendar. On the main front page, you will also see the contact information for the resource teacher or department chair in charge of every department. So like Ms. Kimber Groves, myself, for each of those departments, as well as all of the information about the AP signature pathway, which I'm about, or signature pathways, which I'm about to talk to you about. So, on top of being in charge of the FACS department, which is art, music, child development, computer science, engineering/technology, game development, video production, and computer science, all of those fun electives, I am also the coordinator for the AP signature program. So some schools in Montgomery County have academies, we have the AP signature program. So there are signature pathways. The purpose of this is we hope that your students can come in and find a passion in something. They have a passion for art, they have a passion for music, they have a passion for computer science, and those students who have that passion, we have a full load of courses that they can take over the 4 years to pursue that passion. For some students, it's an outlet. It's what keeps them sane. It helps with their mental health. It helps with activity and expression and creativity. It also allows students who don't know what they want to do to explore all of these. So you may have a student who's like, I think I like this. They take one course and they're like, nope, not for me. We have tons of courses for them to explore so that when they leave here, they have an idea of what their passion is going to be. So for those who do have a passion in an area, we have this way of kind of growing their passion at the same time providing them with a rigorous course load within that area to explore. So there's a whole booklet that goes through all of this. Like we've said, email me if you have questions. But I'm going to quickly kind of go through the different levels of the program. The first is for any student who takes at least one AP course, and they get at least a B for both semesters, each semester. They earn the Signature Program Certificate in Advanced Academics. We recognize them for taking that rigorous course and doing well in it. For students who go past that and take at least 5 AP courses and earn at least a B in each of the 5 AP courses, they earn a cord at graduation and are considered a program distinguished scholar. So it's another level of achievement. Then we have them within each of our kind of specific areas. So we have a visual art certificate and cord that they can get. All of these pathways, there is a 5-course completion requirement. So you're like, well, they're here for 4 years, how do they do 5 courses? They double up at some point. Mostly junior or senior year, they'll take 2 courses. And all of these courses, because it's AP signature, involve at least 1 AP course. So I love art, I'm really interested in it. I'm not just gonna do it at a easy peasy level. We want to see that advancement and challenge and rigor. So they can take any 3 AP courses, 8 non-AP courses. So they can take Digital Art 1 and Digital Art 2. They can take Foundations of Art, Studio Art 1, Studio Art 2, or Photography or Ceramics. and at least get to a level 2 in those courses. They would also take AP Art History and our AP either Studio Art or AP 2D Art or AP 3D Art. So if it's ceramics, they take AP 3D, depending on kind of their area of focus and their passion in art. So total, they're looking at 5 courses over those 4 years in art. And you kind of mix and match with art, just like you can mix and match with music. We have an amazing music program. You heard some of our students playing at the beginning. When you walk in, we offer piano 1 through 4. We offer guitar 1 through 4. We offer 3 different courses in chorus, 2 to 3 different courses in band and orchestra. And students can mix and match throughout those courses. So we have a lot of students who play the piano, and if a student has experience, that doesn't mean they have to start at level 1. Same thing with art. If a student comes in and they've been doing art and really are into art and have a portfolio, they can submit that portfolio and skip intro level courses. Just like students can audition and skip piano 1 or piano 2 or guitar 1 or guitar 2 because they've already been playing for 2 or 3 years. So we want to bring them in at a level that is appropriate for them. Same with our orchestra and band and chorus classes. If they come in with great experience, they can audition with any of our music teachers to skip the entry level courses and go on and above. And then the AP course they take with this is music theory. We also offer another course, music technology. So you might have a student who loves music but can't perform music. And they want to get involved in music. They want to create music for their video game. They want to create music for their TikTok or whatever it is. We have music technology where they're designing music through digital means. It doesn't count as part of the pathway because they're not learning to perform music, but it does count as their art credit. So all of the art classes on the previous slide and all of these courses all satisfy that art credit for graduation. And then we also have a certificate in theater. So we have an amazing theater program, performs here in the auditorium. There are 2 different and distinct pathways within the theater program. One for our more performance-based students, and one for our more backstage, production, directors, stage crew style students. Again, each of those has an AP course that they need to take at the end of the pathway. And they kind of get to mix and match after those first 2 courses to see what their area of interest is. Then we have computer science, that's me, that's what I actually teach in all of this. We have 2 different pathways. We have the Cisco networking pathway for students who are looking to build networks, build computers, get into the hardware side of it. Students have the opportunity within that pathway to also earn certifications from Cisco that they can use when applying for jobs to get better pay and things like that. So we offer 3 courses in that, plus they do an internship and take an AP computer science course. We also have the AP programming pathway, that's my pathway, my area of focus. And many of your students may be taking Foundations of Computer Science now. One caveat that I always try to explain is the AP signature programs, it's 5 courses at QO. So they get the tech credit, they take Foundations of CS in middle school, that's great, that's wonderful, it goes towards graduation, fabulous. But we want to expand upon that here at Quince Orchard. They have to take 5 courses at QO. So they'll come in as freshmen and take AP Computer Science Principles. It is a survey course. It's computer science for non-computer science majors. So it's really designed for any and every student. We don't get super heavy into anything, but we want to make them better digital citizens. We want them to have an understanding of the power of computers. So they take that course, then they take Computer Programming 1, which is an advanced level course, which is strictly programming, a whole year of all programming. Then AP Computer Science A, which would be their first semester computer science course in college. So these are kids that want to study computer science. These are your hardcore coders. And then after that, it's actually, because we have so many freshmen coming in taking AP, we have 2 courses they can take after that, Computer Programming 3 and the Information Technology Internship. Now, we're telling them that Foundations doesn't count, so how do we get that 5th course? If they come in and take AP CSP as a freshman, CP1 as a sophomore, Java as a junior, they do the internship their senior year, then we highly, highly, highly recommend that they take digital art, because it's digital, so we count it as computer science, but it also takes care of their art credit. Or they take music technology, because it's music, so they're getting their art credit, but it's technology-based. So if they go to design an app, they have a better understanding of how to visually design or include audio into the apps and stuff that they're designing. So those courses, as well as if they want to take any of our networking courses or our game design courses, or they start in engineering and decide, I don't like engineering, but I like computers. So there's some options there for that 5th course in the computer science programming pathway. Next up is media and communications. We have 2 amazing former English teachers that we have stolen to be part of my department because of their passion in themes and design and creativity, but not just in English and writing papers, but in creating games and going through game development and video production. So we have 2 entire pathways devoted to that. They start with the same introductory course, getting the same basic idea, and they're not just like sitting there playing games, right? They're thinking and learning about the theory and the background of designing a game. When I go to create a video clip, what emotions, what am I trying to get out of that video clip? How am I conveying my message? So we take them through that whole process. Again, both of those have an AP class component with them. And the AP Computer Science Principles for game development, they can take at any point during the 4 years, doesn't matter, junior year, freshman year, sophomore year, doesn't matter. For video production, they take AP Studio Art, and that is generally their junior or senior year. Next up is education. We have a child development course. We actually have what we call the Cougar Cubs. So we have preschoolers come in here for the morning, and our high school students work with those preschoolers, teaching them and learning how to work with preschool students and how to teach preschool students. Students who complete this pathway by taking child development for 3 years and then completing either a dual enrollment course at Montgomery College or the child development internship can actually leave Quince Orchard as certified preschool instructors. So it's a great program and opportunity for students who might be interested in that. We also have a lot of students who say, I think I want to be a pediatrician, or I want to work in an elementary school, and they'll take this pathway and get involved in this pathway. That's why AP Psychology is there, to understand some of the, like, why do kids think this way, and why do we think this way, and learning some of the science behind that. So we have that program, another signature program. Engineering, technology. Some of your students, again, might be taking Introduction to Engineering Design as a freshman. As an 8th grader. That's fabulous. We're super excited for them to get involved and excited about it. It won't count towards the pathway, so we still have to take 5 courses here. We've got 5 amazing courses for them. But IED is your first course. That course, along with Principles of Engineering and Digital Electronics, the first 3 courses, which is kind of backwards, but the first 3 courses, students who complete those courses, maintaining an 85% average over the 4 quarters, at the end they will take a test. It's totally free to take the test. They'll get their score, and then based on their score, RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology, will say, if you want to, you can apply to RIT, and for I think it's like $225, we will give you 3 credits at RIT that you can then transfer to whatever college or university you go to. So there's no AP course here. Project Lead the Way is a nationally recognized institution, organization. All of these are college level courses. They are intense courses designed to prepare students who are interested in engineering. Students who take this pathway and go on into college are so much more prepared for the courses they're taking than their peers. They come back all the time and say, I didn't have to worry about learning the software. I didn't have to worry about learning this. I could just focus on the content and the problem solving, where their peers were like trying to learn all of it at once. It's a great program. You'll see that we have principles in engineering, digital electronics, environmental sustainability, and aerospace engineering. So if they take IED in middle school, they'll take both aerospace and environmental sustainability. And then the 5th course, EDD, is a capstone, where they actually come up with a real-world problem they want to solve with a group, and totally from scratch design a solution to that, go through the whole engineering process, and then present it to a panel of engineers for evaluation. Then we have 2 pathways within the social studies department. The first one is our program certificate in social studies. These are for the students who really have that passion for social studies. right? They're gonna take two of our AP courses that are like required, so World and NSL. And then they'll take any two of our other AP courses in the social studies department. And then senior year, they will participate in QOHS. It is a capstone course where they really get to apply everything they've learned and discuss it and problem solve with it. And they design some projects in there and really go through and create some amazing things. So that's the social studies signature, and then we have the justice, law, and society signature pathway. So they take intro to law, law and administration, contemporary issues, and then take one other AP course here at QO, and then they have options of how they want to kind of complete that one. There's a summer paralegal program. They can make a law course at Montgomery College, or do an internship in law to get that 5th course. With all of that, planning is key. So that 4-year plan that they were talking about, you really want to sit down with your student to try and fit all of it in. Is it possible to do multiple of these pathways? Yes, if you plan. You may need to, if you're going to complete multiple pathways, take health over the summer. A lot of students, especially if you're trying to do like engineering and art, you're going to have to probably take something over the summer because there's so many requirements. A lot of students will do the Distinguished Scholar, which is 5 AP classes, and one of the focused pathways. Because they all have a built-in AP class, they're taking AP English classes, they're taking an AP Math class, or another AP course in that pathway. So if you have questions, please feel free to email me. Do my best to answer all those questions. Like you said, I've been here at Georgia for 21 years, so I know everything there possibly is about these pathways.
Cool, thank you. If you need to, feel free to take a stretch break, because I know the mind can only absorb as much as the butt can withstand, so that's okay. Mr. Yarbrough, I'm just going to talk to you quickly about the plan for success. While we're proud of Quince Orchard is known, like many folks would say, for sports. I think we're known for 3 things, right? Athletics, right, because our programs do really well. What I find in performing arts are the bomb, right? Our theater program, Cappy's Awards every year. We have a state championship marching band, and then our signature programs. So those are 3 things that people should be excited about when attending like QO. So I hope y'all are. Here's a plan for success, right? When you come in, you got to think about what is the next steps for your kids, even though they're freshmen coming in, right? But what are your post-high school plans? Ms. Adams just talked about making a plan, right? And I think that's important. Enroll early in challenging courses. You want to be challenged early so you can see what you can handle, right? And you can kind of figure out your path in high school. That's why we have these offerings for some of these APs for them to dip their toes in, as I say a little bit earlier, right? But they should want to do that. Get help when you need it. There's tons of support here at Quince Orchard. We have an amazing well-being team with community partners that's here to support students, social-emotional well-being. We have a phenomenal counseling department. Our admin team is hands-on. There are a lot of resources here for our kids, all right, so as you come in. Take advantage of our school programming, right? Those are some of the things I mentioned. Lunch and learn. Students can come down during lunch to get help and support with their classes. But again, many, many resources that are here for our students coming in to high school as 9th grade. The other piece I want to point out, extracurricular activities. I just talked about them, right? Those big 3 things QO is known for. In addition to that, we have last time I checked, over 125 clubs here at QO. And we always say, if we have a club that you are not interested in, then form your own. And many kids have done that, right? So get involved. You see eligibility is an unweighted GPA of 2.0 of no more than 1 E. So if your kids plan on participating in athletics and these other extracurricular events, please keep that in mind, because for us, the academic piece is important, all right? I talked about getting involved, all right? You must have completed a physical. This is another piece that folks just forget about getting in high school, is a physical. So if your kid wants to participate in athletics, things they have to have a physical. okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. And then lastly on here, if you don't like sports, we have lots of other activities, music, theater, SGA, Best Buddies is an amazing program that we have, so just kind of keep that in mind. We feel like we offer a little bit of everything for any and everyone, you know, here at QO. So I'm excited because the class of 2028, I'll be your administrator. So if you have questions afterwards, I know Ms. Jackson is taking them, but I'll be around for a few minutes to answer any other questions. Okay? Yes, she's gonna turn it back to you.
So I also do athletics. I have done lots of other stuff. So you'll see me at games and events. I am one of the assistant athletic directors here. I'm also the varsity softball coach in my 21st year coaching. So Mr. Jeff Rabin is our amazing athletic director, also soon to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame for the state of Maryland. So we're super excited about that. We have an amazing website, like we've said. We have many, many different athletic programs. We have one of the best coaching staffs, top to bottom, experienced in all of our different areas. And all of our coaches have the mentality of we are student athletes, right? We want these young people to be students first, athletes second. We want to kind of round out their abilities. We want to help them grow as young adults. Everything you need to know about athletics, you can find at QOHS.com. All of the schedules are posted there over the summer. One of my lovely jobs is to update schedules. As we get those, they'll be posted for the upcoming school years. You can see rosters of our current players and athletes. Some information for you, because while you have middle school sports always start during the school year. High school sports start before the school year for the fall semester. So we have over 41 different teams over the 3 seasons at the high school level. And the fall sports begin in August, usually between the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, sometime during that week. It's the Wednesday of that week every year. So next year it will be Wednesday, August 7th. So you need to be prepared for that. That means that your athlete needs to be here and stay here from August 7th through the start of the school year. They are making a commitment to that team and that program to be here at practice. And the majority of our teams practice Monday through Saturday. Yeah, us coaches love Saturday mornings, especially in the spring when it's 45 degrees and it rained overnight and everything's wet. Anyway, so you are making a commitment, right? And the coaches are putting in the time, the assistant coaches are putting in the time, the other players on the team are putting in the time. We ask that you plan for that and that your athletes plan to be here. You have to practice to play. You have to learn to play with the other people on your team. And to prevent injuries, you need to be active on a regular basis. So there's lots of reasons why we need you to be there. You will see registration will open up in mid-July. All registration for official teams is done through ParentView. Mr. Yarbrough has talked about physicals. In middle school, physicals are good for 2 years. In high school, physicals are good for 13 months. It used to be 1 year, but because you can't get into your doctor until it's been a year to get the next physical, they finally got smart and it is a 13-month physical. So if you get a physical on October 1st, it's good till November 1st of the following year, 13 months from the date of that physical, so you must have that on file with us. You can register on July 15th and have a physical on July 20th. That's totally fine. We would rather you finish the submission for registration and sign up for the team, and then just email us the physical once it's been completed. 9th graders are eligible for their entire freshman year. The eligibility requirement kicks in when they become sophomores, so that we know it's a transition year, and some students transition better than others. We want to give all the students an equal opportunity to participate, become part of that team, get connected to something at the school, and a lot of our athletes actually perform better when they don't have all of the free time. They're more focused on getting things done in their school day. If you have questions about any of the sports specifically, all the contact information for all of our coaches is on the website. Mr. Raven's contact information is there. If he doesn't answer you, you can contact me, but he's a better resource to start out with. And you can follow us on Twitter at QOHS.
All right, so I see some glossed faces. We shared a whole lot, and I'm gonna wrap it up, and then we're gonna get to questions. So this is a list behind me of all of our resource teachers, which are the heads of our departments. This is available to you if you have specific questions about a course, you're not sure about something, and you have a question about part of a pathway. These are your go-to people as well. So please feel free to reach out to them. Ms. Adams just shared this. Whether you are socially active or socially active, that came out wrong, active on social media, that just, we're just scratching that whole thing. If you're active on social media or not, whatever. This is a way that we push out messages. It really gives you a way to get to know information that maybe your students may not tell you. I'm not looking for followers. It would be great, but seriously, if you're on Instagram or X, please follow, because we push out a lot of information through our social media pages. And of course, this is, well, you didn't meet all the administrative team. So the administrative team, these are all our email addresses. We are very lucky to have 5 assistant principals and a business administrator. So I am excited because we haven't had that in a long time. So there's 7 of us on the team that are available to answer questions. So I'm going to wrap up this presentation piece. Mr. Yarborough has an additional microphone, and we are going to open it up for questions. And I want to be really clear, no question's a silly question. All right, I've been in your shoes, I've been here, I've been a parent of a high school student who just graduated, and I still have questions, and I was the principal here. So please feel free. All right, Mr. Yarborough, please don't run. Workers' comp is not going to be good tonight. It'll be good, but still. All right, so, and then Ms. Jackson will be documenting and answering. Please don't feel don't feel that you have to stay for questions, but a lot of times parents, caregivers ask questions, you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. All right, that's it.
Hi. I am curious about the health credit that they're required. Is it still split between half a year 10th grade, half a year 11th grade, or is it one full year now?
It is offered, and actually, I've not even talked to my team today. It was at a high school principals meeting. So it is still a half and a half. However, students can take both courses in summer school. There will be a fee this year, and hot off the presses, so you might want to take notes on this, my team. Hot off the presses is that Montgomery College also offers a health course that satisfies Health A and Health B. We will be pushing that out. We're going to have to update our information, but that literally was just shared with us today. But yes, currently it is sophomore and junior year. However, students can take it in summer school. There will be regional summer school sites, and that is not something that we would offer directly here unless we have the interest and the availability. Again, new information just came out today.
When is the high school registration? I thought I saw February 2nd and February 9th as due dates. Which one is it?
So welcome to Montgomery County Public Schools. We have due dates and we have deadlines. So we're hopeful. We'd like to say the deadline is the 2nd, quite honestly. But we understand some things. We're going to come, I was about to say we're going to come to your child. That would not sound well. But we will find your student if they have not registered. So 2nd is our due date deadline. Yeah. Well, if your student is not registered, we will find them.
If you could raise them high, I'm going to be 50 next year.
Oh, so thank you. Some of us have been in the club.
Hi. We're transferring from private school. Is there a chance that my child can come and see, like with Lakelands, and when are we supposed to register?
Do you want to answer? So yeah, yes, your student, so reach out to Ms. Conter. We can get you scheduled to join us on the day that Lakelands joins us. Or Lakelands and MLK.
Just back to the health questions. Will health be offered through our online like it was last year? Through the central?
Yes, it will be offered online. The variable that we're not, I'm honestly not, I'm a little confused, is about the fee and whether there will be a fee associated with that or not. So during the high school principals meeting today, they talked about it, but there were several questions, so I don't want to mislead you, but it will be offered online.
Does that include health fee as well? I know it wasn't offered last summer.
Yes. Yes.
Discussion. Thank you.
And the reason for the fees, and we're pushing back on this when I say we, high school principals, ESSER funds are gone. So the funding sources that we had for so long after COVID, and as a result, we were able to offer a lot of free courses. The funding is no longer there.
I just had a question, because it said to be determined for Ridgeview Elementary. When will we find out the date that Ridgeview gets to come visit?
Great question. So I was hoping to see Mr. Beck today. We had a middle school, high school.
I meant middle school.
Yes, it's okay. It's all right. I got you. So we're working on that right now. Our goal really is to get over to see them within next week, if the week after. That's why we have such a longer time, but we will push that out once we send it out. Once we determine, we'll get it out to you immediately.
Okay, thank you.
For the signature programs, each course is a semester or is it a year?
A year.
So I saw that for some, it seemed like they required 5. Was that I didn't quite understand that.
Yeah, so all of those courses are full year courses, so they double up either their junior year or their senior year. So when you think about like the core 4, right, they have to take English for 4 years, they take math for 4 years, they only have to take social studies, sorry Jamie, and they only have to take science for 3 years. So their senior year, they get 2 extra kind of like free periods. So when you're looking at those required 22 credits, we were talking about how you have 28 options over the 4 years, you've got those 6 extra to kind of play with. A lot of students will find time in their junior or senior year. They'll take health, over the summer, or they'll take care of even like a tech credit, or take a credit over the summer or something, or take a credit at MC that can take care of something else, and that opens up the option for them to take that extra class with us, their junior or senior year.
Can you provide some info about the ice hockey team? It sounds like it's a club sport.
Yes, you just answered it. It is a club sport that in the past, this is the first year that we've partnered with, I think, Northwest High School, because we did not have enough students who were interested in being on the team. So we have a dual team, I call it a dual team, with Northwest and Quince Orchard. But every year that is a club, it is sponsored by parents. It is pretty much self-run by our students, and they seek students who want to play, and depending on how many students we have, then that determines if we have our own team or we have to pair with another one.
So we don't go to Mr. Rock?
No. It is not a sport that is sanctioned or supported by MCPS. It is purely a club.
Thank you.
Sure. Oh, we're really good, by the way, but I wish we had more kids.
I'm confused about the math. If you've already taken algebra and geometry in middle school, do you take 4 more in high school?
It is a state requirement that you have to take 4 years of math. Yes. What a once, there's a hand up there. Mr. Okay, he's up there. Hold your question, we'll get, because it's a great question. He was like halfway up the stairs.
Hi, I have a similar question about the classes taken in middle school. And it was really confusing which of them transfer to high school.
So if it is Algebra 1, Geometry, and most, actually all of our world languages classes have the ability to transfer as a credit to high school. New this year is the update about the grade. And the reason behind this change is we had students who in their sophomore, junior year realized, oh my goodness, I had a B in Algebra 1 my 8th grade year, and that's now on my transcript. And while I want the credit, the grade could have impacted their transcript. So it gives them the ability to retake the course if it's going to negatively impact their GPA. If a student says, for example, families make the decision, okay, the student got, the example I think was an A first semester and a B second semester. The automatic trend, the automatic default will be that that student would not receive it. That's where we have to get involved early, and we have to submit a form to say, no, we are fine with that. As the parent, the family, the student there, they want that credit, even if it is an A and a B. Or whatever course, anything from a D, D backwards, A, B, C, or D, let me just say that, would earn the credit. But if it's going to have a negative impact on their GPA, then we have to submit a form. Did I say that correct? Because it's new this year, I have to keep saying. Yes?
Does the 4-year master requirement apply to early college?
Great question. So early college is an opportunity where students can apply after their sophomore year. So, during their sophomore year. And students will have to take a math course, but the course that they take in early college would count as that requirement. We have several students who also take what is called dual enrollment. So they're do we have juniors? Okay, junior and senior year, we have students who may take a course at MC, and it would duly count as a college level course and a credit. So you could take, for example, psychology at, not that we want that, but they could take it at MC, but also earn the credit here. They could take an English at MC and earn the credit here. We will go through all of that, trust me, by the time that you're ready to think about that. Early college is something you should probably be thinking about now because that happens their 10th grade year.
I have a question on the Maryland State assessment. So for middle schoolers that took Algebra 1, when do they take the assessment? If they took Algebra 1 in middle school?
They would have taken it during their middle school year. So whenever you take the Algebra 1, whenever you take that, they have taken, and if they passed it, they will meet that requirement. So it's whenever you take the course. Where we see a disconnect, to be very honest, is from our students transferring from private schools. Because they may have taken algebra at a private school, and they have not taken the Maryland, State Department assessment, so they'll still have to take that Algebra 1 assessment when they come here.
You should get something in the mail. Everyone does at the end of the year for your impact. If they did, you can check with the school.
Yes? Great question. So the question was, how can we access the slides in today's recording? That will be up by Friday or Tuesday at the latest. Our goal is to have it up by Friday. But Mr. Henry, are you here? Can we give a round of Mr. Henry, the gentleman up there? He's all our things, stage crew, tech, all of that. So he will be working with our team to get that up and ready. So what a thing. I'm sorry. And it'll be on the QOHS.org. I said network. I was like, what? .org, that is our website. It'll be posted right now.
Video will be on the YouTube channel.
And our YouTube channel. We'll push it out so much it'll get sent out. No, I'm just kidding. There are definitely more handouts available right at the top, correct? Yes. Thank you so much. Welcome to Quince Orchard High School. You are now a Cougar family. So we're excited to meet you and your students. So if you have any questions, we'll be here for a little bit. And please have a great rest of your week.